All right, let's see. Just waiting. It always lags for some reason, this stream. All right, I see the ads going, so yeah, why don't we get this party started then? Why, hello there, everyone. Welcome back to the Xbox Roundtable Podcast. This is show number 316. I am Invader, your host for tonight, and Sundays are certainly fun days, especially for us talking about all things Xbox, plus, hey, a little more from around the gaming sphere. Always something going on, right? Certainly lots to go over tonight concerning the latest Nintendo Direct. Nintendo showed off quite a few games, so we'll share our thoughts on that. As well, news from the Xbox camp that marketing head Jerret West is leaving Xbox once again. We shall go into that. Plus, well, hey, there's a few games recently skipping Xbox for some reason. We will talk about that in a little bit. So yeah, basically, full docket tonight. Lots of fun. But before getting into all those things, let me introduce the crew tonight. Starting with Crusader. Hey, great to see you, bud. What's up?
Hey, it's been pretty good. This is probably the longest stretch of time I've actually, only played Destiny straight.
I saw that.
And I don't honestly feel like I'm slowing down because, the game feels so good. And, the one thing that was going to make me slow down, they were like, we're adjusting next week at reset. And I'm like, okay, awesome. Dots and I got our first clear of the new raid, which is the hardest raid they've ever made, which is called Salvation's Edge. We got our first clear last week. Yeah, it's just really, really, really fun to be playing Destiny right now.
All right, happy to hear that. Yeah, you've been playing a crap ton of that. I'm happy to hear that. You're getting a lot of fun out of it. Getting a lot of fun. A lot of people seem to be enjoying it right now. All right, next up, Eric Shockley. Shockley, buddy, how you been? Shock. Don't know if you have your mute on, but can't hear you. Let's see. All right, I'll go over to Grimes. Just wait on Shockley there. Grimes, what's going on, bud?
What's up? I think is that Shock? Go ahead, Shock.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought Crusader was still talking for a second. But yeah, not much. Just been going through that 360 store since we know what's coming up. Got a few games that I probably was playing too much Halo and Gears. I never got a chance to play some of the more obscure single player games. I think I grabbed Remember Me from Capcom, Bulletstorm, Bionic Commando, and 99 Nights 2. So looking forward to getting to those. Been looking at some of the community on Reddit. Been given some good ideas on games that are still available to someone made a really good statement. They're like, a bad game from that gen is like a good game now, and a good game from then now is a masterpiece. It's like that kind of fit compared to what we play today, I feel.
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day. Actually, well, probably often now that I think about it, more and more as time goes on, that definitely I'm definitely appreciating those games a lot more now. Seeing some of the content that's been out now. I mean, maybe it's nostalgia in me, but I don't know. A lot of those are just very. A lot of titles from then are just very comforting titles, to say the least. You can always go back to something from those time periods, right? So I hear you on that, but I hear you on that. Grimes, I'll go over to you. What's going on?
Yeah, what's up? How's everyone doing? Yeah, I've been playing Callisto Protocol. Visuals are great. I'm loving it. But to be honest, I thought that I was gonna hate the combat, but it's alright so far. But man, do I have some complaints with it. Some of the writing could have been better, especially at the beginning. And also, why is Jacob so damn heavy to move around? It's since most of us have played Dead Space, and it's essentially the same movement as Dead Space, but the main character, Jacob, ain't wearing any armor in the game, so why is he so heavy to move around? It's a bit annoying, but all in all, it's a good game. And also, has anyone tried Steel Wakes the Deep? I think it just dropped on Game Pass either last week or the week before.
I
and,
have the gameplay up as we speak.
Oh, is it? Yeah. That's great. So, how do you like it so far?
I've played the first like hour and 10 minutes, and yeah, I mean, so far I think it's all right. I had my headphones on playing it, so I really liked like all the environmental sounds to it. I thought it was done really well. Yeah, no, so far I would say that yeah, I'm enjoying it so far.
And is it a horror game, or is it more? Is it like what's that game by Blueberry Team where you just layers of fear, or is it more actiony orient?
I mean, there are actions that you do, but it's very like not to use this in a bad way, but it's like a walking simulator kind of game. Like, I mean, not that like
So like layers of fear, then similar to that.
something like that, but there's more action happening around you. Like Layers of Fear, there's a lot of like slow, creepy stuff going on, whereas this is more actiony.
Okay, cool. I mean, I'm definitely still gonna try. It looks, it looks really cool, and the graphics.
So far,
look
it's
dope.
interesting. It's definitely not a slow game. But the story is like, I'm just getting into like, yeah, it's starting to get into like the meat of it, because yeah, there's a lot going on. While I was playing it, I was getting a lot of. You ever see the movie The Thing?
I haven't, but I've heard of it. Yeah.
I get a lot of vibes of that for some reason. I guess just because of the content that's in the game and where, just the isolation in the game, but you'll understand when you try it.
Cool, cool. Good to know.
Yeah. But that's good, though. I'm happy you tried the Callisto Protocol. That's awesome. It's a fun game. Fun game. Let's see. Dots, great to see you tonight. How you been?
I've been good. Like Crusaders stated, it's been Destiny time all the time. But outside of the usual grind, new DLC came out for Age of Wonders 4, so I've been enjoying that. It's the like the fantasy civilization style game. They just added like eldritch horrors as a playable faction, so that's been kind of fun to play around with. Besides that in Destiny though, I just visited our brand new, just opened yesterday Warhammer store, official GW store. So I got to, went in, see what it was all about, walk out about $300 poor, the usual. Yeah, no, it was really cool. And that now our area has an official Games Workshop Warhammer store, so it's kind of neat. But yeah, no, otherwise, been good. I know I missed a couple shows, but it's the work and weather and work. So, but happy to be on tonight.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, no, happy to have you back as well. Let's see. Still waiting on MLD. I'm assuming he's showing up tonight. He just probably doing some things. He'll probably be sneaking on as we talk. But yeah, it is great to have all the guys here, and great to see you all in the chat so far. And guys, just to start us off again, it's great to have you here. But if you could share out the show, that would be fantastic. Let everybody know that we are currently live. Spread that out across social media. Also, give the show a like. It does definitely help us with those pesky algorithms. I mean that. It certainly does. But yeah, guys, I'm not going to delay, waste any more time. Let's start off talking about some new games, some announcements and trailers. And yeah, we'll talk about some Nintendo to start us off. This is from the Nintendo side of things, as they just had their latest Direct, showing off a brand new Mario and Luigi game, Donkey Kong Country Returns, HD, and more. And yeah, overall reactions seem to be pretty positive for it. I think both Microsoft and Nintendo have certainly brought their, brought their A game this month. Definitely lots of stuff to to look forward to in the coming months. But yeah, I definitely want to get the crew's thoughts on this Direct. Crusader, I'll start off with you, lead off with you on this. Any thoughts on the Nintendo Direct? Any standouts for you? Or, like, I don't know how you would rate it personally. Yeah.
Metroid Prime looked awesome.
I agree. I've been waiting on that sucker.
7 years, I think, right? Since they announced it?
Well, they rebooted it too, because whatever team was working on it, Nintendo just... I remember they put out a video about it too, and I think they handed it over to Retro Studios. So it's been taking some time. It's been taking some time, but it looks good.
So good. It gave me like Halo 4 vibes. Does that make sense? Like that's the like, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I really like Halo 4, but like the way the HUD looked and the way the art style was, it gave me very Halo 4 vibes.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of that.
That game, I'm definitely picking up for my Switch day one, and that's very rare. I don't play a lot on my Switch. I play a lot of Pokemon on it, and that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a big Metroid fan. Like, Metroid Dread actually got me to purchase a Switch, right? I'm a huge Metroid fan. Metroid Fusion it's one of the few Nintendo games in my top 25 games of all time. I absolutely adore Metroid Fusion, and Metroid Dread was a sequel to that. So, and like Metroid Prime, I've never really played the Prime games, but like I'm gonna probably pick up the Prime remaster before Prime 4 comes out and play the other two. I have the other two on something or other. Are they re-released on the 3DS? Or do I just have ROMs of them on my 3DS?
Probably ROMs.
It is quite possible it is just ROMs that I have on my 3DS. But I definitely want to play through all those games because they look sick, and they've been on my backlog for a long time. So like that was the standout of the show for me. The Mario and Luigi game looked really good. The jokingly referred to as the Legend of Link game, the
Yes.
Legend of Zelda game where you actually play as Zelda for the first time since the CDI, and we don't talk about the CDI. That game looked really cool. I was shocked that we still didn't see Silksong. I'm convinced Team Cherry doesn't exist anymore. Because, like, where is it? Like, come on now. I figured it was going to be at the Xbox show because they had a Game Pass deal, and when it wasn't there, I'm like, oh, Nintendo, Xbox may not have, like, full marketing for it. It may just be, like, they have, like, a Game Pass deal, and, like, Team Cherry is just going to show it wherever they want because they are that kind of studio, right? They have that as, like, an indie studio, but, like, with that, like, pedigree of Silksong, or not Silksong, with the original Hollow Knight, they can just kind of do whatever they want in the industry. And so I was like, oh, well, maybe it'll be at the Nintendo show. And then it wasn't at the Nintendo show. And I was just like, what?
Right.
I'm trying to think. But, like, there was... I'm not a huge Nintendo guy, right? Like, I'm really not. I play... So, like, that was really, like, those three things were, like, the standouts to me. And we'll talk about, like, some, like, there was a couple other reveals. We'll talk about the Capcom one later. But, like, overall, there's a lot of people online who are, like, we're getting into fierce debates over who won the not E3. Was it Nintendo or was it Xbox, right? For my tastes, it was definitely Xbox, but, like, those are the types of games that I prefer, right? But, like, looking at that was, like, a Nintendo player's wet dream of games. Because, like, it's a very different audience, right? They make very different styles of games between Nintendo and, like, Xbox/PlayStation, right? Because Xbox and PlayStation are more similar than they're not. And, like, Nintendo is off doing their old thing, whereas, like, Xbox and PlayStation tried to, like, raise the kids up, and now, like, they do mostly mature-rated stuff. Nintendo never aged with their fan base, right? They always just made the same games for the same age group, and, like, their fans just kind of stuck with them there. and they continue to make really family friendly and cool stuff. And so like I'm looking at it, I'm like, man, that like if a Nintendo fan and like a fan of like those styles of game that Nintendo makes told me that they killed E3 this year, like that was the best show, I would fully like be behind their opinion in that, because like that was the most Nintendo show to like Nintendo in a long time, right? Like like great. Not a whole lot there for me, but absolutely great. Like Metroid, I'll be there for that. And that's really about it for me. Yeah,
Alright.
but like yeah, really, really good show. Really good show.
Yeah. I mean, of course, I mean, I would rate like the Xbox one my top one, but this was nice. This was nice, especially with Metroid
Right.
Prime 4. Metroid Prime 4 was
I think,
yes.
I think most people on this show would prefer what Xbox like most of us on this panel would prefer what Xbox showed, just because it's the type of games that we play, right? But like if you're out there and you're like a Mike Minotti or a Jeff Grubb, I can totally understand why like those guys were raving over that Nintendo show. That's like everything they could have wanted. Like I saw people being like, I will eat my shirt if there's a Mario and Luigi game, like random people on the internet, and like then they're quote tweeting themselves like this was like, I am not an insider, like what the fuck, like just like stuff that was totally unexpected, right? Like I don't think anyone expected a new Mario and Luigi game. Like specifically the Mario and Luigi like sub franchise of Mario, right? Like that is fundamentally something separate from like Mario itself. And so like that was cool to see. That like these underserved franchises that Nintendo has were being served to people. And like Metroid is another one. Metroid is a franchise that like gets a couple games a decade, right? At most. And like seeing those, like I'm a Metroid fan. It's like a Metroid and Pokemon from Nintendo, and Metroid, that was awesome. So yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, like, Metroid's one of those that, like, you know, it sells well, but it doesn't sell, like, Pokemon or Mario numbers or
Right.
Zelda numbers, but it has such an ardent, like, big, like, solid fan base, you know, that keep asking for it. You know, like, people were asking for those Prime games, and then when Prime 4 got delayed, you know, there was such disappointment, but, I don't know, so far it's looking good. You know, it's definitely what I'm looking forward to, along with the Luigi game. I know that Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, that's coming very, very soon. I think maybe in a week or two, something like that. So I plan on getting that. Why not? But yeah, no, I thought they did pretty good. Let's see. Moving over to Dots. Dots, I'll get you in on this. I don't know. Did you catch the Nintendo Direct at all? And if so, any standouts for you? Yes, no?
Yeah, no. It looked really good. I liked it. For the most part. I think that out of everything, I mean, a new Mario and Luigi game is hype. Like, you know, that's actually just some, like, I don't think there's many people that say like there's, I could be wrong about this, but like to my knowledge there isn't many people say like there's a bad Mario and Luigi game. Like those were pretty solid RPG style Mario games. The mechanics were fun, the stories were well written. Like like I kind of like how like the sub games or like the sub IPs of a main IP get so much love. It's kind of for me it would be like the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games compared to the mainline games, where like I think all but one of the Mystery Dungeon games were like critically acclaimed by the people who like those styles of games. There was one bad one off, but we don't talk about it. Gates of Infinity, if I recall. Yeah, that was the bad one. But you know, no. So I'm really happy to see that. The Luigi's Mansion 2 HD coming out. You know, getting a nice Switch port for that is really nice. I saw that Super Mario Party Jamboree is going to have an absurd amount of players allowed in those lobbies.
Oh yeah.
It's I know Mario Party is like the killer of friendships, so like having like a mosh pit of people in there. It's gonna be crazy. But it's also gonna add a new dynamic to it, so that's kind of cool. Like Crusader said, there's like a lot of cool niche hits that Ace Attorney fans are happy. The Legend of Zelda obviously is that's always a huge hit. Metroid Prime 4, finally some more Metroid Prime information. A Lego game, Just Dance, just a lot of just a massive variety of things. Among Us on the Switch, great stuff across the board. I mean, Hello Kitty Island Adventure. I mean, how could you guys not even think about that? Like, this is Game of the Year stuff we're talking about. This is Game of the Year stuff we're talking about right now. All right.
Hey man, that's my Christmas present to Crusader later this year. Don't be knocking it.
No knocking here, no knocking. But yeah, no. So this, I think it was good. I think that I am surprised we haven't gotten any information on a Switch 2. I think that as great as the game lineup is, I think that we're still a little behind on the software because
You mean hardware?
Yeah, that thing. But because first of all, can a Switch even hold all these games in one Switch? I don't know if without an external or an extra SSD added into it or whatnot. I don't know. I feel like the games are succeeding where the Switch is falling behind. Even if you get the OLED, which is I have an OLED. It's nice, but it's still falling behind on the times with how much stuff they're trying. I mean, look at, they're still adding content for Mortal Kombat, which means the Switch Mortal Kombat's getting that content. Woo, man, it still looks ugly as sin.
Yeah, it's rough. It's definitely showing its age for sure. So
I love the Homelander picture.
Oh
yeah,
my gosh, that
that
was
one.
hilarious.
Yeah.
That was amazing. Yeah, so it's good. I'm really happy with it. It's kind of being completely overshadowed by a certain DLC of a game. That's kind of that's the news right now. For Elden Ring, that's kind of the big thing right now. But no, Nintendo put out a good one. I was surprised of how long it was. Is this the longest one they've ever done?
What was the timestamp on it?
Wasn't it like 45 minutes, something like that?
It was 40.
One of the longer ones. I think they've had ones that have gone over an hour, but this might be the longest one since they've gone to the direct format. Because they had some pretty long E3 shows, when they were
yeah. So this is potentially the longest direct.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's up there. So, it's up there.
Yeah, but so this was a solid throw out for a good amount of time, a lot of games. I think if you own a Switch, there is at least something on this list that you're likely going to get if you are a regular Switch player and not one of those Pokemon only people, which I'm kind of that. I think I might be. I might pick up the Fairy Tail 2 game, but that's kind of a niche product that I played the first one on the Switch. It was okay. Didn't dislike it, but yeah, no. So overall, no, I gave a solid 8 out of 10.
All right.
So
all right.
It would have gone higher if we got a Switch 2 or probably Silksong. Not that. See, I've never actually played Hollow Knight, but the Silksong people need to start throwing away their clown makeup.
Ooh, them's fighting words. I don't know.
Listen, we put the clown makeup on every time there's a
showcase
event.
or
Every showcase, it's you put the clown makeup on to be prepared for an announcement that you know deep in your heart is not coming.
It worries me though, because I've been informed that the Silk Song Hollow Knight Reddits are going feral, and they're throwing out death threats to Team Cherry, which is completely unacceptable. Like, screw you if you do that. But and they're review bombing Hollow Knight on Steam and other things because of how upset it's a madhouse for how feral people are for that game. So yeah, so every time we get another showcase or game announcement or whatever, and there's nothing with Silksong, it just that community, it's just self-deleting itself. So one day, hopefully soon, or else things are gonna get worse for them.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we'll definitely keep an eye out for sure. See where Silksong is. Yeah, who knows? Maybe Gamescom. You never know.
If worst case scenario, they can always move their attention to Hello Kitty Island Adventure. It's about the same quality of game. So.
Oh boy. Let's I don't know. Let's see how the chat goes in the next couple of minutes. You might be starting a flame war there. All right. MLD, hey General, I just saw you kind of sneak in there. What's up?
Hey, yeah, doing pretty good. Yeah, see you guys are having a good time here. Yeah, you guys mentioned Elden Ring. Like I'm that's basically the game I'm playing now. I just started a new playthrough. Got Elden Ring fever. Gonna beat the base game with a different build and then play that DLC that everyone seems to be talking about. So yeah, that's me right now. But yeah, how you guys doing?
Yeah, it's going all right. Can't speak for everyone here, but yeah, things are going good. Playing games.
So we're talking about the Nintendo Direct?
That's correct. Yeah, I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, General. I mean, obviously you're an Xbox guy, us all here, but I have a Switch. I keep an eye on what they have to announce. I thought they did all pretty good, really. There were some highlights for me. Anything stick out to you at all?
Oh yeah, I mean, hey, I'm Xbox first and foremost, but I was born and raised on Nintendo, and still play their games now and again. I feel like Metroid Prime 4 was my personal standout because I had such a great time playing Prime 1 and 2 on the GameCube back in the day. Really happy people are rediscovering this series because, yeah, not many people played those games. Most had a PS2 at the time. So now, because Switch is so successful, it's finally getting the recognition it deserves. And Prime 4 looks like a solid continuation. So, and people are saying it may or may not be cross-generation. I believe it is. They've done this in the past so many times. We've seen Zelda games, Twilight Princess for the Wii and GameCube. Same thing again with the Wii U and Switch. They'll do it again. Nintendo's no stranger to doing this, and it's gonna be amazing because it looks pretty high fidelity for a base Switch game. So I hope they make use of that extra horsepower. And of course, you see the other games like it's nice seeing other older titles being re-released. It's almost like it's a new release in itself because of how much time went by. Like there's the Donkey Kong game they're bringing back.
Oh yes. Yes, I forgot about that. Good. Donkey Kong Country. Yes.
Right. Pretty much. Yeah. Pretty much. It's something about Nintendo games. It just everyone's inner child just comes out. I remember playing those games back on the Super Nintendo, and that essence. Nintendo manages to keep the essence of their games across generations without fail. So good on them, man. It was a nice touch them getting Perfect Dark on the on the Switch that subscription thing they have. I forgot what's called.
Yeah, the port's really bad though.
Really? What
yeah, there's problems with the anti just a bunch of the visual features are broken, and it actually in some situations makes the game kind of unplayable.
Wow. Okay.
Perfect Dark.
Yeah,
Oh,
Perfect
okay.
Dark.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Perfect Dark re-release is not very good.
As-
It's like the anti-nausea feature or something like just doesn't work.
it's sad that when people say Microsoft, a $1 trillion company, can't do this or that. You still have a what? Are they $1 billion company and they can't get basic emulation? I get N64 is a struggle, but holy shit.
Yeah,
Um,
like, I mean, yeah,
It's the whole
that's on them.
N64 part of the expansion pack is abysmal.
Yeah.
But
Right. Yeah. I feel like that's more a Nintendo issue because obviously I played it back in the day on the N64. I replayed it again on Rare Replay. So and that is the definitive version. It's like the best resolution, better frames, graphics look cleaned up. So clearly they know how to do it right. But Nintendo's online is like stuck in the early 2000s, and you can't say, yeah, that it is what it is there.
I know there's a big issue, like when you fire your gun, it causes like really weird particles on the screen, which causes the Switch to really, really, really lag.
Oh, that's a shame. That's
And
a shame.
it's like it seems like it's like a memory leak issue or something. Like it's not like the Switch can't handle it. It's like something is just wrong with the code base and how it's interacting with the emulator, and it's just like eating resources it shouldn't.
Yeah, I figured as much, but even so, it just Nintendo's coding is just so far behind everyone else's. But whatever. I thought the game would be better build than that, but what are you gonna do? I do find there is a renaissance here in RPGs because they got that Mario and Luigi RPG coming out. That's pretty awesome considering how they just re-released the Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, another underrated gem that most skipped on the GameCube, which I loved back in the day. So it's good that more people will experience that too. But of course, I think most people are focusing on a Zelda, where you actually play as Zelda. So, and people love the top-down games. So do I. I think my favorite Zeldas are actually the Game Boy Color games, Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages. I don't know if you guys played those. Those are my favorites, and they're top down. Just something about it. It's just the charm, like the strategy you use. It's different than a 3D Zelda game. Each one's great, but
the
people
first
have
one
their
I
preferences.
played was Link to the Past for the Game Boy Advance. And
Okay,
that was a good one too.
Wasn't that like a remake of the Super Nintendo one?
I think so.
Yeah, which most think is like the best top-down Zelda you can have. But what was cool about Seasons and Ages was that it was kind of like a Pokemon Red and Blue thing, where they were compatible with each other. If like one game continued off the other by giving you a code after beating the first game, it made the story continuous. But they are standalone if you so choose. But but that's just my preference. Overall, this game, it's a nice change of pace. Like some people are calling out the switch up. I don't mind. Like it's Zelda. Like you're finally playing as Zelda. That's what the game's called. And if they make it work, fantastic. So I don't think Nintendo's showcase was as good as Xbox's, but it was pretty high up there. Especially, I don't think they gave it as much notice or as much hype either, and they really over-delivered there too. So, yeah, hats off to Nintendo. Like, Xbox, Nintendo, they got a solid pipeline of games coming. So, any fans of them, we're eating pretty good.
All right. Good summary there, MLD, and lots of good stuff. Lots of good mentions there for sure. Next, I'll head over to Grimes, and then we'll finish off with Eric. Grimes, I mean, again, I'm not sure if how involved you are with Nintendo, the Switch, all of that. But again, they seem to have pretty good. They had a wide assortment of games. Any thoughts on their direct? Did you like it, or is it just something that you weren't really keeping an eye on?
Yeah, man. The nostalgia was strong with the show, and I have to agree with the guys. It wasn't as good as the Xbox show, but it was definitely, I would probably give it a 7.5 out of 10. Really liked a lot of the stuff they showed. so many cool announcements. Like Crusader and Dot said, the Mario and Luigi brothership game, that caught my eye as well. It's got that Persona 5 feel. Dots mentioned Fairy Tales too. I gotta say, the first time I saw that game, I was like, this is generic AF. But apparently, the first game sold 72 million copies worldwide. So what do I know? But what do you think, Dots? Is it a good game since you played the first one?
Well, apparently the gameplay is going to be completely different between the first and the second
wow.
one. Because the first
Interesting.
one was like a grid-based, turn-based game. So it's like your attacks are on like a 3x3 grid, and different attacks like hit different squares on the grid.
So,
and
similar-ish to XCOM.
Oh wow.
No.
No.
Like it was like your 4 characters you pick are lined up like a Final Fantasy game, and the enemies are on a 3x3 grid, and your attacks will only hit certain squares of the grid depending on what the attack is. But it's
so. What do you think about the change? Are you happy with how they're evolving?
It looks like it's gonna be a real time like hack and slash. I guess like what are they called? What are those games like they did with Fire Emblem and Legend of Zelda with like the massive mobs or whatever kind of thing? That like style.
What is it? Hyrule Champions?
Warriors.
Hyrule Warriors. That's it.
It's not going to be the same number of enemies, but it's going to be like, free roam and like free roam combat, and not like turn-based combat anymore. From what I understand, so like it's a direct sequel to the first game, but the combat is like real time rather than turn-based.
Interesting. Good to know. I mean, we'll keep an eye out on it, I guess.
I know that they're feeding off the fact that the newest season of the Fairy Tail anime is coming out. Actually, I think it's out. I think it's coming out next month. So like I'm sure they're feeding into that. But the game wasn't bad. I mean, it wasn't like the most stupendous game ever, but it definitely wasn't a bad game. So I'm looking forward to what the second game pumps out. I mean, and it's a continuation of the story, and like if you've watched the anime, you know what happens in the story, but like once again, it wasn't bad. My only complaint with it has always been like it's only going to have the Japanese voice actors instead of the English dub voice actors. And I actually like the English dub voice actors, but not every game has the budget of like Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm.
Yeah. So at least you got the anime for at least the English voice acting.
Yeah.
But another one that caught my eye was Fantasia Neo Dimension. That one looks cool. And so does
Apple Arcade Original, by the way.
No way, for real?
Yep, it was, and everyone loved it. But it was Apple had exclusivity over it until they closed the Apple Arcade, and then Square Enix could actually put it other places now.
I didn't even know they closed the Apple Arcade. When did that happen?
They announced that like winding it down or something. I don't remember. I just know that they are allowing people to put their content other places now.
Interesting. I mean,
wow, I thought that was lucrative for them.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I think it's shifted, or I don't think it closed down. I think they very shifted how it works or something.
Okay.
I got you. But another one that look really cool is Memories in Orbit. It clearly draws inspiration from Ori. I don't know if anyone else saw that game. Definitely the art style and the way that the little character moves is very looks very Ori. And a lot of its games are just perfect for a handheld gaming device. So I think that would also work really well on the Steam Deck or the Asus ROG Ally. But also, I'm not gonna lie, but that Looney Tunes sports game looks fire. Reminds me of the those good old days playing FIFA Street or the NBA Street games. And oh, how I would love for EA to bring those games back. But yeah, that one looks really cool. It reminds me of Space Jam as well. You got your basketball, your football, tennis, all of those sports. And you guys already touched on this, but we got a release date on DK Country Return for early next year. And I'm very hyped about that. But I think, in my personal opinion, I would like to see a complete reboot for Donkey Kong. Last few haven't been that great or interesting, so I would like to see something new. But of course, the hype is there. I'm probably gonna try it when it comes out. You guys already talked about Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. That game would most definitely do well sales wise.
Yeah.
Really fun and silly game. I played the first one and really enjoyed it, so I'm sure I never played the second one, but I'm sure I'm gonna enjoy it as well. And the cool thing about Nintendo is we get to see so many Japanese games and developers. You just love to see it. Especially now with Sony and Xbox closing their Japanese studios, it's refreshing to see something different, even if most aren't my cup of tea. But it's just great to see this weird Japanese games getting all the attention. Then, like you guys already talked about, we saw them announcing some legendary classic games coming to their online service. Personally, I need and I want a Turok remake. That game was so damn good back in the day. Also, since you guys talked about Perfect Dark, does anyone know how does the license work for that game? Because the original game was on the N64 was published by Rare themselves. Originally,
This isn't the first Microsoft Rare game on the thing. Microsoft's is licensing them.
Okay, so Microsoft is allowing.
Microsoft is licensing. Yeah.
They're making some money from this, probably.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no reason for them not to. Like, it existed on the platform. This is an emulator of the platform. This is like there are lots of things where I've said that like it would be like I would actually be upset if they didn't. And this is one of those things where I'd be upset if they weren't supporting, like, because like this is the equivalent of like how they're doing backwards compatibility, and like Microsoft is the backwards compatibility company. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that's what we celebrate them for. So like yeah.
Well, yeah, I didn't know.
They are licensing it. Yeah. And I think part of them licensing it is part of why 007 came back in the first place. Mm-hmm. Just like in general, because 007 wasn't the first one either. I think one of the Banjo games was.
But also, speaking of 007, I would have preferred to see that canceled 007 for the 360. If anyone remembers it, I don't know why they couldn't agree a deal with Nintendo to release it, because that game was pretty much it was done, and I'm sure there are leaks. You can find it
where
somewhere.
They did the whole remake.
Yeah.
That could have been MGM as well. Like, we blame Nintendo for that, but like James Bond stuff has is like the only thing I can think of that's like as bad licensing hell as James Bond stuff is like anything Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm. Which is now owned by the same company. I mean, Amazon owns both franchises now.
Kinda, not really.
In the news, Nintendo was a roadblock in that particular.
They were. MGM is a big problem with it too, because MGM has all kinds of rules about how like James Bond can be portrayed in games.
Yeah, Yeah.
And like those rules are actually not in line with like how the older games actually worked.
But
That's why like James Bond stuff stopped.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a shame because that game, when I remember it looking it looked great for the 360 generation. But oh well, I mean, yeah, like GoldenEye is still a cool game, but whatever. And speaking of which, do you guys think we'll ever see Nintendo make mature games or any hyper realistic games
No.
ever?
Why would they?
No.
No.
Why
never.
would they? I think it's a
No.
problem that the PlayStation, Xbox make as many hyper realistic games as they do. It's why games take 8 years to make and cost like $500 million to make.
For sure.
Although
I mean-
Metroid's taking about 8 years to
Xbox
make.
is
So.
more.
I mean, they'll
Xbox
have
is more well-rounded, I'd say.
they'll have
They
mature
do, but
they'll have
That's still a
mature
problem.
they'll have mature titles, but they'll just be again like a different kind of style, you know, like they'll be, you know, you'll see like Bayonettas and stuff like that, but it just won't be like, again, like you can't compare like from Nintendo to PlayStation, Xbox. It's just a different just different focuses altogether. But you know, they will have their own things. They will have their own things. It's just it's definitely not their focus though.
I mean, I respect that, of course. I'm just wondering if they'll ever. I think the strategy is spot on. I like what they're doing. I'm just wondering if we'll ever see that. But obviously, you guys don't think so. So
For better
And,
or worse, Nintendo is stuck in their ways.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
they have the best profit margins in the industry. Like
for sure.
Yeah.
flat out. They are the only ones who can sit on games and not release them for 2 years and just wait for a window where they need something. Like they are set as a company.
And you know, last thing I was gonna say, one game that none of you guys mentioned that I think is a really cool announcement for the Switch is Stray.
Oh yeah.
The game looks, the game looks great. It always reminded me of that Love, Death, and Robots episode set in a post-apocalyptic world with only robots and cats roaming about. Maybe it was inspired by that episode. I've loved the game. I've never actually played it, but from what I've seen, like I've seen people playing it online. Really like it. The only reason I never bought the game is because I've heard how short the game is, and
It is very short.
Yeah, so we've got so many games to play that I'm like, I'll just hope one day it comes to Game Pass and then I'll play it.
I honestly, it's one of the few games that I would genuinely like, because I don't like to turn on my PlayStation when I don't have to. I don't like the controller. It's one of the few games that I'm like, yeah, no, they actually use the DualSense features, and like they spent time to make those rumbles feel like a cat purring in your lap. Like actually a cool experience with the DualSense controller. Very few games that I would be like, yeah, I'd actively play it on the PlayStation if I had the choice. I think it's the only game I would ever say that I'd actively choose to play on the PlayStation if I had the choice. If I had the choice to play every PlayStation exclusive on my Xbox, I would, but not Stray. Stray, I would, unless Xbox gets the haptic feedback. Like that was actually well done.
That's
Yeah, like Returnal perfected how it should be used. That was like perfect where it could only be used. I wouldn't even want to play that on PC unless you could get the DualSense to work properly.
Astrobot was pretty good too. The Astrobot demo that came with the console, that was pretty good too. Like no one else has done it well. Like in some games it feels worse than regular Rumble, but like those games it's like, yeah, I understand how this feature could be cool for things.
Well, I was gonna say, Shock. I thought that you can play with the PlayStation 5 controller now on PC. So maybe you can use that feature as well.
Yeah, I'm guessing because otherwise I wouldn't want to play. I don't even know how Returnal would work with any other controller.
You would think the PlayStation would want to add that to other games
because you kind of need it for the alt fire, for the because the trigger, whatever, I forget how it works, but
it's the resistive triggers. Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you how
one
it
of
works.
them
I had
tells
those
you if
turned
it's
off.
like, yeah, But
anything else, Grimes?
No, that's it. Yeah, would love to hear everyone else's thoughts.
All right, and we just got Eric here waiting in the wing. Eric, obviously you've been listening to us giving, well, I mean, some pretty favorable, for the most part, judgments of the Nintendo Direct. Please tell us, round us out here. What are your thoughts on the latest Nintendo Direct?
Yeah, because I was watching it live, and up until like they started to show Zelda, I was like, this show's pretty mediocre in my opinion. Like there just wasn't that much for me, I guess personally. Like I'm not like against like Mario and Luigi. I just never gotten around to it. So and then I've played some of the Paper Mario, like Thousand Year Door was great on the GameCube. But yeah, I just haven't gotten around. I totally would play those, like more so. I had them on my 3DS and just hadn't gotten around to playing them. But I'd be more inclined to play it in that scenario. But when I have that's the thing with the Switch is, and I kind of hate that they had to go this route because their home consoles since the N64 have done pretty bad. Other than the lightning in a bottle called the Wii, but they've steadily declined every gen, going N64 to GameCube, then GameCube to they had Wii, but then when you get back on track to when retirement homes aren't buying your console anymore, Wii U, we saw what happened, and so they kind of got into this space where exclusives weren't going to sell whatever the next console was going to be unless it was a handheld like that where they had to, hey, we're cutting off, there's no more 3DS or anything true handheld anymore. You're not going to get those two, like when we had the Wii, you had the DS and you had all those library games, and you had the Wii and you had a great amount of even library games, even though there's a ton of shovelware in there. You had those two avenues. Whereas now they're kind of like a game like Mario and Luigi that would probably be more so a 3DS game is going to get them by for their, main home console. So I mean, there's so many other games I would rather play than Mario and Luigi. Like I'll probably, spend the time to play the Thousand Year Door like remaster. That'd be up more my alley. But up until then, the Zelda game looks cool. I have the Link's Awakening. I just haven't gotten around to that, but I definitely want to play it. The art style looks cool. I think they do have a missed opportunity to give us like Sheik, because we haven't seen Sheik since Ocarina of Time. And this would have been a perfect one to put Sheik, and not, at least from the powers, it seems kind of like really she's just making things like, I don't know. It's probably going to be a good game, and I'll probably end up playing it. So. But and then it kind of went from there to we finally got Metroid, which was great. I'm glad we did see that. So I'm really big on Metroid. Played all the ones on the 3DS, like Samus Returns. Played all the ones on the GameCube, Game Boy Advance when they dropped some big on Metroid. Played the remaster of the first one last year, Metroid Prime. So I'm glad that we finally got a date and know that it exists, because it's been so odd that I remember the Weapon Wheel podcast I was on when Blandrew, I think most people know him if you're around Nintendo.
Right.
I think that year he was like, yeah, they just won E3 Nintendo because they put up a JPEG of Metroid Prime 4, and it's been I think that was 2018. So it's just crazy how long it's been, but I'm glad it's kind of cool that it did give me those same vibes of Halo 4 when when I first saw it. It was like, this has, because you were definitely wanting to see some upgrade from even like the remaster. It does kind of suck that we'll never see Nintendo as a cutting edge company in their games, because think about what we saw from Hellblade. Imagine if you saw Metroid Prime in Unreal Engine 5. That'd be
I think it would be
ridiculous. It'd be because
20.
that's what when Metroid Prime first came out, it was that like, oh my god, this like this on the GameCube, this thing looks stunning, cutting edge. Compare even though this tiny box, even up against the Xbox back then. But we're never going to get that because everything's going to have to be on like a tablet, so it's always going to be a step back. But I think Nintendo's also gotten to this period where they kind of take, and they have always taken their fans for granted for quite a while. But especially not just the N64, which I'm definitely stopping my expansion pack when I'm not renewing that. Especially what I've seen from, like, I already knew it was kind of like not great, but like seeing how they just completely just didn't give a shit about Perfect Dark. But then also their remaster for what was it, the Donkey Kong Returns, Donkey Kong Returns,
Right.
HD, and they completely botched that too. They botched that like Rockstar botched Grand Theft Auto. At least Grand Theft Auto, they're giving you 3 games for $60. I'm sure this thing's going to be 60 alone. And you go and watch, I think Game Explain, big Nintendo fans, and they break it down line by line. And there's like some things that were kind of better, but most of it was not. Most of it was pretty awful, actually. But I think Nintendo just doesn't really care, like give a shit with some of these remasters. But I mean, that's why I kind of felt like, okay, cool, you gave us that game, and they did great with Metroid Prime last year. So like, that one that was a great one, and that was probably because I think Retro. I'm not sure if Retro Studios, but I think they handled that. But yeah, I don't know who's handling some of these others, like just like straight up like basically this one was basically just an HD like port. They actually put in work on the remaster. So when they spend their time doing that, like Thousand Year Door, I think those come out good. But some of these just like HD ports like they did. I'm not sure if Tropical Freeze had any issues, but yeah, some of these they're just being kind of really lazy about. But yeah, I think Nintendo's just gotten to a point where they can just, show here's a bunch of remasters, or here's another Mario Party game. Not that we really needed one. They had the one that was pretty crappy, that this one's supposed to be superseding. But in between that, you already had a Mario Party game, Superstars. It was basically kind of like almost like a remaster of the like first 3. Had like all the boards from like the most people's favorite era of Mario Party. That's the one I bought, and which is great, and you can play online. It's a blast. So I didn't really think it was like Jamboree just 2 years after, since technically you had one that kind of fixed a lot of people's issues. But sure. But I mean, overall, it definitely was better than it was. I felt good about it, at least immediately after, because it was like, cool, new Zelda. At least we got Metroid Prime. That's cool. And then, we got more N64 games. It's kind of sucky that you have to download a separate app because they're super just family friendly now, even though you can easily just download it. That's just weird, but yeah, it just kind of seems like they're just super complacent, at this point. So, but they can kind of do that because they're printing money, like Crusaders saying they're like, super profitable, and
they're like
people
say they mistreat their fans. I say their fans don't give a shit. Like,
yeah,
fucking
and
shit
a lot
sells
of them don't.
hotter than hotcakes, and I'm like, why are so many companies investing in absolutely cutting edge graphics when that doubles the development of the game and isn't doubling your profits? Like, it's not doubling how many you're gonna sell, and you could just do different, cooler things in the games without focusing on the graphics. Like, make the coolest AI system I've ever seen in a game. Like, Perfect Dark's AI system sounded really cool.
Right.
In the trailer, like with how how that shit's gonna work, and I'm just like, man, if we focused more on the functional gameplay technology instead of like making it look 2% more realistic, I'd be really, really happy.
Yeah, for sure. But I wish they would just give us like what we want. Like I don't know why they decide they make so crazy decisions of like, let's give the people Skyward Sword. No one was asking for that.
Yeah,
Instead of giving
everyone
us
wants
the game
Ocarina,
that
right?
everybody's yelling from the rooftops, give us Wind Waker, give us,
Okay.
because you did that. I get it. You did it on the Wii U, right? You did that in Twilight Princess. That's great. No one bought that console, so just you ported every other Wii U game over. Why not those two? But that and the Metroid games, like how are you going to release Metroid Prime next year? And a lot of people never even played the second one because it was kind of broken on the GameCube.
The second one was a really hard game by comparison. I remember that. It's really rare for a Nintendo game to challenge you, and Prime 2 was hard. So I do hope they do release it and close out the trilogy. But that would be smart. Like
I thought that's what they were
Don't they
going to
need 3 on the Switch as well? Or is 3 on the Switch and I'm just dumb?
No,
it's not.
3's on the Wii
No, it's just
and
on the
Wii
Wii.
U.
Okay.
Which is stupid.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there was a rumor saying that like the entire trilogy is apparently done, but they were holding back on it. Like obviously the first one's out, but it took them a while to, actually get that one out. So
supposedly they held one remaster for 18 months.
Interesting.
Yeah, it'd be so weird to just remaster the first one and then not the other two. Like you like printing money and just re-releasing the same game over and over. We understand that. So just do the ones we want. We're telling you to do. Like you can see it.
To me, instead of a trilogy, it's better to chop it up and sell it 3 different times.
Yeah, for sure. It just seems weird that like if this game is going to come out next year, and you still got to put out 2 of these games, and you want to milk both of them, right? So you would have made sense if they would have announced one of them, like, hey, later this year, 2 will come, and then sometime early next year, we'll get 3. 3, I guess that might be the only hang-up is because of the Wii controls, but I mean, I'm sure they can get that to work if they got.
I mean,
Mario
they fixed it with
Galaxy to
Skyward
work.
Sword, didn't they? Like Skyward Sword was a Wii game. Yes.
Yes, true. But they also got Mario Galaxy to work, and that was all with the Wii remote. So I'm sure they can get that to work. But yeah, it was with the whole pointer. I guess you didn't have to do that much pointing with like Skyward Sword or Mario Galaxy. So it's just more of a shake with those. But
all right.
But yeah.
All right. Anything else, Shockley, to add, or is that about?
Nope. That's it. I mean, I'm glad Metroid Prime thing definitely saved it. Like, had we not had that, I don't think the Zelda thing for me would have just been enough. But overall, I'm ecstatic that that's coming. So at least they're pumped, because otherwise it's like, what else is coming? I know people don't want to talk about like Xbox is releasing too much stuff early, but now they got so much crap that's coming out year by year now, it looks like. So yeah, I don't know what's coming out other than Metroid Prime.
I feel like Nintendo's problem with that is they don't want to announce the console until they're ready, and because of that, they don't want to show the games that are coming for that new console, right?
Yeah,
like
that's true.
And
that's
Metroid is MLD is on the money. Metroid is probably cross generation. It'll be interesting if you have to buy it twice,
for sure.
Or like how upgrades or how Nintendo will handle like backwards compatibility and upgrades and stuff like that.
As a digital owner of their software.
Yeah, Nintendo will make you buy it again.
Buy it twice, and you thank them for it.
Oh, they better not. Like, I've been withholding trying to buy stuff like digitally for Nintendo, like on my Switch. So I've been going physical for the most part. So we'll wait and see what happens with this Switch 2 or whatever.
Yeah, the last thing I will say on that, they better be careful, because I've already kind of said this could be their Wii to Wii U moment again. But if they really make that issue of like not making digital stuff like backwards compatible and like, or forward, whatever you want to say, carry over to the next system, they're gonna piss off so many people, and then you're already gonna have a lot of people that like, oh no, I have all these games on my Switch, especially with kids or whatever. They already have a Switch.
Well, it happens.
I don't need to buy a new one.
Like,
I got 7 of them in my
lack
house.
of VC, but people complain online. But it doesn't translate to real world buying habits at all.
I mean, I didn't buy a Switch for like what until Dread came out in 2022.
You buckled eventually.
End of 2022.
And the
And,
next one's
like,
probably not going to be OLED out of the box.
The Wii
So why would
U
I move over?
had the issue where like they branded it too close to the Wii, but it like didn't people didn't realize it was like a new console. And like Nintendo has to be very careful if it is going to be backwards compatible to make it actually seem like a new product too, because like
Yeah,
the
you already
Wii
have
U
Switch Lite,
yeah,
Switch OLED. So, yeah.
Well, if it's a more powerful Switch, I mean, that alone might be it's the safest route, and I don't know. You think
I don't know. I'm straight up not buying it if it's not backwards compatible until it has a healthy slate of games that are playable on it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like I have no need for it. I have 2 consoles right now that have a huge amount of stuff. I have a huge amount of stuff for my Switch I have not played in itself, and I have a huge amount of stuff on PC. Like I legitimately don't need a new system that has new games if it isn't an upgrade of the old system. For the upgrade of the old system, it's an easy day one buy because it plays everything I own at least like moderately better just because it'll load it faster. Like outright, right? Like that's where I am in gaming, and that's not where I was with like the 360 PS3 gen. Like 360 PS3 into Xbox One PS4. You know, I wasn't like that, but I am now because of digital games.
Well, gentlemen, like it'll be interesting to see what Nintendo does in the coming months. Obviously, we're expecting the Switch 2 announcement. I mean, I would assume at some point towards the end of the year, but Nintendo does things differently. But as time goes on, there's more and more chatter about it, and yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But from the sounds of things, yeah, seems like both Xbox and Nintendo towards the end of this month have done a very good job, you know, giving gamers a show, to say the least. But
I do have an update on that Apple Arcade thing, by the way.
Yeah.
Apple Arcade does not keep all of the games they publish in the service forever. And they announced that like games that they removed from their service that they were publishing, the rights returned to people. So that's why the Square Enix mobile game is coming to consoles now.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's not that Apple Arcade is ending. It's that like they end having specific games on the service.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
All right, interesting. Very interesting. Thanks for that little tidbit, Crusader. But yeah, to everybody that's joining in live, thank you. You know, we appreciate you being here. Very active chat. If you haven't done so already, please smash the like button and share out the show. Let everybody know that we are currently live. All right, guys, enough Nintendo talk. Let's talk some Xbox. We got some Xbox news here. Let's see. Earlier this week, it was announced that Xbox's chief marketing officer, Jerret West, would be leaving the company to join the Roblox team later this month. West had previously joined on as Xbox chief marketing officer back in, 2017, I believe? I don't know, something like that. But he had held different positions at Xbox in the early to mid 2000s, and then he had spent a few years at Netflix. So with this move, there, it seems to be a bit of reshuffling of roles, as the marketing department seems to be closer under Xbox Studios from how I'm reading things. Now, General MLD, I'll lead off with you here on this one. Now, I remember when Jerret West rejoined Xbox, many were excited at the prospect of him coming back. We all remember like a lot of like the old marketing campaigns during his tenure. But now, I'm not sure if his impact was really felt the last few years. I don't know. What are your thoughts on the matter here?
I definitely think that Xbox marketing needs a shakeup. And most fans would agree that the marketing could be a lot better. The most recent example I could think of was Starfield, I would say. I feel like it could have been advertised a bit better. There could have been console bundles. We didn't see any console bundles. We didn't see any custom wraps for Starfield.
That's a
so I
wrap
feel
for
like-
Starfield.
Oh,
I
sorry.
have
I
it.
mean,
I
like,
have it on my
sorry.
console.
Sorry, I misspoke. I mean, like an actual designed console around Starfield, like an actual ground up design. I don't know. At the very least, it could have used a console bundle with a free digital game, like really get some value in there. But I just feel like it was a missed opportunity. And most recently, you had Hellblade 2, which people thought was criminally undermarketed. And again, like easy things like a console bundle. It doesn't even have to be across the board, just like a special limited edition to get some people excited and move a few units, get some sales up, because it's going to be on Game Pass, but you want to get it. You want to have some incentive to buy into the console ecosystem as well. So people do think that there is room for improvement. The budget isn't there. I hope that the shakeup means fresh ideas, a push for a better budget for more avenues of marketing, because with ABK, the Xbox gaming division, it is just under Windows right now in terms of revenue generated. And with that, you got to look at things differently. They have been doing things differently, but that also includes marketing, and I feel like they're finally getting to that. Like that's finally their focus. And I'm not too familiar with all these names that are being that have come and gone over the years. It's not really too important to me. I just care about results, and I do see people seeing this as good news, because a shakeup means what has been going on recently will change in the future, and people want a change. People want to see Microsoft put money into advertising their brand. So I'm optimistic. I'm looking forward to the future and what the shakeup means. I hope that it'll lead to just better awareness all around for not just the brand, but also for the games when they launch. So here's hoping.
Indeed, well said there. I mean, I agree with you there, MLD. I think there could have been more push in certain aspects. I mean, obviously, they've been on quite the buying sprees in recent years with different studio acquisitions, hell, even big-ass publisher acquisitions. But I guess, like, in my opinion, some more funds could have been spent there on some marketing, especially with some titles, some important titles there. Let's see. Dots, I'll go over to you on this. What do you feel about this, this tenured person leaving his marketing spot there, Dots? Do you think this is something big, or is it just like, it's not that big a news, really? And Dots is silent. All right.
Oh, I'm sorry. What's up? I couldn't hear you for the last. I couldn't actually hear you for the last minute. What were you saying?
Oh, all right. No, I just kicking over to you. Like, what your thoughts are on Jerret West leaving his position as chief Xbox marketing officer, and I don't know, does it really mean anything?
The Roblox,
yes,
right?
yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of indifferent. I don't really know much about the guy, but I mean, I guess there's money in Roblox, so like, let those Robux or whatever that they have. I mean, good for him, I guess, for the position switch, but not much I have on the issue. Like I said, I hardly know the guy, and I got nothing on this one.
All right, hey, that's fair. But yeah, I mean, either way, it's always interesting. He'd spent some time with Xbox in the early 2000s, and then went on to Netflix for about 4 or 5 years, and then rejoined. So just kind of interesting, shifting back and forth there. Let's see, Grimes, I'll get you in here on this one. What do you think about this Jerret West, again, switching over, leaving Xbox for Roblox, and is it really a significant absence, leaving Xbox, or again, is there just other people that can fill the role?
Absolutely. Listen, everything that MOD said how many times do we hear Xbox fans complain about Xbox marketing? It's underperformed for the last 6-8 years. Other than Forza, I never see any marketing for any of their other games. I assume he's had a big hand in making many of those decisions. MOD also talked about the consoles, how they lack design. You could like put some of their games as cover on do like custom limited edition consoles. And like you Invader said, he's been part of Xbox for a very long time. First as a director of marketing at Xbox between 2008 and 2011. And then the last position he held at Xbox was the a chief marketing officer, which was it was from 2017 when he left Netflix to or no, it was 2019. I'm sorry, 2019. So he started that position just before the pandemic. But yeah, he was in at Netflix before doing marketing as well. He was the VP of marketing at Netflix. So I don't think he'll be missed. And like MOD said, I would like to see someone new to come in, try something bold, a new bold marketing strategy that we haven't seen before from Xbox. An aggressive marketing campaign. Would love to see that. With him going to Roblox, can you really blame him? There's going to be less politics and more freedom at the company. You know, we all know how massive Roblox is. It could be considered a console in a way because you know how big of a platform is. You can pretty much make any game you want using their tools, and it just prints so much money. You know, it's another game I have absolutely no interest in. Not to mention I'm too old for it, but I do. Several of my friends' kids do play it, and they play it nonstop. However, you know, last thing I want to mention about Roblox, going to Roblox does come with its own roadblocks. It's been sued several times in the last few years. Some of which are very serious allegations. So maybe that's why he was brought in to maybe help with the image, with some marketing campaigns. I don't know, but I'm sure he'll be much happier at Roblox than Microsoft. But I think we're gonna be. I think we need some fresh blood, and I think as Xbox fans, we'll be happier without without him at Xbox.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. No, that's a good take. Definitely well said there, Grimes. Yeah, I mean, again, he spent a lot of time with the Xbox platform, been involved with it, especially early on, like important marketing campaigns. It's just interesting, again, the shift, especially in recent years. So, I mean, personally, I have a feeling, again, it's grander than just him. Especially with whatever funds were directed into the marketing team there. But yeah, he would have made some key decisions for sure. Especially with
I'm sorry. You know, last thing that just came up or like just popped in my head is Major Nelson. We never touched on him moving to
Unity.
Unity. So good luck to him. You know, who knows what his position.
Absolutely rocky.
Yeah,
Well,
because I mean, I think he was brought in to help their image, because like MOD said, it's been rocky for the last few years. So, but good luck to him.
yeah, it'll be interesting, and I wish him the best there. We'll see. I mean, we'll see. Yeah, it's definitely he's a good PR guy, so we'll see. What happens there with his addition. Let's see, who else can I get in to chime in here? All right, Shockley, I'll go over to you, and then Crusader to round us out on this one. Shock, again, what do you think about this marketing leader venturing off to Roblox and leaving Xbox? Significant move here, do you think?
I mean, doesn't really feel like it would. I mean, it's not like they've been had marketing, so I'm not sure.
Right.
I don't know if that changes or if that's just, hey, we do have marketing. It's called Game Pass.
Well, there definitely seems to be a shift, because again, even like it seems like they're like some of the teams are just like even moving like closer to Xbox from how I've read things too.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't think it's gonna make like we're gonna notice anything like different, but yeah, good if he's I'm sure he's getting a good pay increase there. So, but yeah, I mean, I guess he helped obviously put together the shows, or get the community to grow bigger with Game Pass. So, I mean, at this point, what marketing? Really, the marketing that they have now is just that Call of Duty is going to be in Game Pass. So they, in a sense, they really don't need to really market their games. So they're maybe like the smaller titles, but like some of these big ones like Doom, people are already like, loving the games they showed off. So some of those big titles really don't need a big marketing push. Gears, like we saw, Gears had so much, you saw it over TikTok, Twitter, other people's streams. Everybody was ecstatic. So when that goes into Game Pass, I don't really need to put it on a bus, like like how and not like Spider-Man needs to be put on a bus, like PlayStation just wants to put it everywhere. But they could probably save that money. They don't probably need to market Spider-Man. He kind of markets himself. But yeah, I don't think it's gonna be too much of a difference at this point. So, but yeah, we'll see.
All right, fair statement. We'll see how it goes for sure. All right, Crusader, round us off here on this one. Significant him leaving. Does this affect Xbox?
So all I can really say is Xbox marketing right now outside of showcase season is stinky. It's bad. Like I don't know why they don't have pre-roll, like they don't have ads on YouTube, pre-roll ads on YouTube for games. Like the last one I can recall seeing is Starfield about like 9 months ago.
I think I saw Hellblade, to be honest, but it was very short. It was very short time frame.
Like why Game Pass isn't an eternal advertisement on like YouTube and on social media sites, I couldn't tell you. Because they don't need to advertise to people like us. The reason like I complain about it is Microsoft's not attempting to reach new customers. They're not. They're not doing it well. Because like the advertisements aren't for the people who have the stuff. The advertisements are for people who don't have the stuff, and they're not trying to reach new customers. And they're not even doing it the indirect way, where like as I would like to call it, the Raid Shadow Legends way. Like why they don't like team up with like a bunch of like influencers and streamers for their videos, because like this video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. This video is sponsored by Game Pass. I don't know why they don't do that. That's like the modern form of advertising is jumping in those, and like that would be like the perfect ad placement at the beginning of like a like a Let's Game It Out or the Spiffing Brit or like any of those kind of like YouTube channels. Like why are they not reaching out and like sponsoring some of these big like video game YouTube channels and like this is sponsored by Game Pass? I've just always been very curious as to like, and this is not an Xbox problem, mind you. This is a Microsoft problem. Microsoft has been very bad at marketing in the modern era. They are only good when they do their showcases, whether it be like Microsoft's for like the Surface lines or what. They do not advertise their products well, and I genuinely believe they don't sell as many Surfaces as they could because they do not market the Surface well. Same goes for Xbox. So I don't know. Is he leaving a good thing? Could be. Could be a could shift this. Nothing could change. It could get worse. I don't know. But like probably better that it's happening than not.
Right. Well,
So-
yeah, certainly. I mean, especially again if they're just kind of like again, there seems to be like a shift, a movement in the marketing teams period as well. Especially like again, from how I'm reading things, it's looks like they're moving.
Yeah,
them, like,
they're
closer
definitely moving
to...
people around, moving them closer to the Xbox brand and separate from Microsoft's marketing proper. Like those are good things. Those are things that like maybe like the Xbox team can market things the way that like they should actually be marketed for their product and not the way Microsoft thinks it needs to be done. Because Microsoft is very good at having all of the data and then not knowing how to analyze the data in the slightest. They do it all the time. Like, as an IT professional, they'll change all kinds of tools in what's called Microsoft Entra, which is their cloud-based management service for 365. And they'll change all the shit, and they'll be like, "But data showed that like this, and this," and it was like, "Yeah, because this is bad. We just wanted you to fix it, not reinvent the wheel." And so like, yeah, I hope that it leads to something good. I don't know that it will, but I hope it does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I do too, as do many others. We'll see where this leads us, though, and again, it's not the end-all, be-all, but again, I hope that they're focusing on their marketing going forward, too. It is an important aspect of the business, and, I want to see these games that we always talked about properly marketed and, making sure all eyes are on them. It's pretty important. It's pretty important, guys, overall.
Because there was a genuinely like I had friends who loved Hellblade 1 and were excited for Hellblade 2 and didn't know it was coming out. They found out through me when I posted the review scores. So,
which is weird too, because there has been, we knew about the game like 3-4 years in advance before the release, right? So it's I mean, again, we were in the know, but of course, we're not the average consumer, right? We're plugged in, we're dialed into everything Xbox. So, yeah, I mean, maybe that does say a lot about their marketing. We'll see. Let's see. Looking at the chat, Carlos Alvarado with the 199 super chat. Thanks, Carlos. He says Doom is marketed on YouTube and it's not out till 2025. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They do this shit where they market the stuff around the showcase, and the marketing is hype as shit around the showcase, and everything is shown off. I don't like when I say like showcase season, they do it well. I don't just mean the showcase. They market really well around the showcase. They did it with Starfield too, where Starfield was constantly the ad rolls, and then like all marketing stopped after like 3 weeks, which is fair because the game's not coming out. But then they didn't pick it back up like that when the games were releasing, except for Starfield. They did it with Starfield, but like they haven't done it with like Forza or things like that. They didn't do it with Hellblade. It's just weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I was hoping for a little more of a push for Hellblade, but I digress. I enjoyed Hellblade for what it was. I liked it.
Nick's in the chat.
Nick is in the chat. Oh yeah. Let's see. Yeah, the man from down under. Hey, Nick. Great to see our friend there from Xbox era. Hope you're doing well, bud. All right, guys in the chat. I mean, pretty good chat here tonight as per usual. If you haven't done so already, guys, smash the like button. Of course, share the show out. We're talking Xbox marketing. We were talking some Nintendo Direct earlier. And we're going to carry on to another topic, one that's been... Well, the past week it's been talked about a lot. It'll be our last topic tonight, and over the past week we've been getting various game announcements or just release updates for them and so on. However, it appears that some are kind of sidestepping Xbox and putting them on other platforms, kind of showcasing them there, but no mention of Xbox, which is unusual, and for starters, the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection does not have Xbox anywhere in its recent announcement, which riled up Xbox fans enough that the no Xbox trend was starting on X. Also, Fear Effect is making a comeback on a wide variety of platforms. However, Xbox is also surprisingly absent. And it's just, Xbox fans are just kind of left scratching their heads as to why Xbox is noticeably left absent from these, certain announcements. I could understand, small teams, but I mean, if they're being put everywhere else, why not Xbox? Just kind of unusual. Eric Shockley, buddy, I'll head to you over to start us off on this one. Again, what do you make of these games not coming over to the Xbox platform? Because, again, it's riling up a lot of people. Lots of trends starting because of this.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Seems to be this. I feel like we kind of found out maybe more answers to like why other games for whatever reason skipped the Xbox platform. Like even if you think like something wouldn't sell that well, some of the games that we've seen like skip just didn't make any sense. Like how much, especially even this one, it's like I get it. People are like, oh well, you guys aren't, people on Xbox aren't buying games. I'm like, no. So this game would actually sell, and it's literally one of the biggest. Same thing with like Street Fighter. They saw Street Fighter was enough, like there was enough reason to put like the newest Street Fighter on there that would take probably a lot more resources to put out, not like something that you can literally play on your Xbox in developer mode. Equivalent. Like it wouldn't take them, like what would be their development resources to put out some ROMs on the console? Like it's not like N64 emulation here. It's like this pretty Dreamcast isn't hard to emulate. But I mean, it just kind of sucks. We did find out it's probably more to do with the MT framework. Because I know some people pointed out, well, why did the Capcom collection, that's on there, but that's obviously also from 2 years ago. So obviously things that I'm guessing support for like Xbox One is, ceased to the point where whatever the reason, if they can't get something like certified, because if you've seen it, this isn't coming to PS5, it's coming to PS4, and luckily the PS5 is backwards compatible, and that's why it's playable on that console. But yeah, it does kind of suck that I hope like this is, and this I get some of the other stuff that maybe is skipping that maybe wouldn't be worth like Microsoft's time to like go out of their way to do, like maybe the Monster Hunter like side game that's not the mainline series, but the is it the Monster Hunter?
Monster Hunter Stories.
Yeah. I can see
everything including mobile, but Xbox.
Yeah, I can see like because if we're getting the big, the big actual like mainline, as long as that's still coming, they're probably like who cares? But a game like this should not skip. This, especially a game that people have been asking for years, and it just kind of sucks when I myself just bought, not just bought it. I did buy mine 2 years ago, but I bought that collection, where's the Capcom collection, and they did a bundle with the Street Fighter anniversary that came out a few years ago, the 30th anniversary. So they bundled those together. I bought that and the Capcom collection to get the Vampire or Darkstalker games. So it sucks, because people say we'll just buy on play, just get a PlayStation. It just kind of sucks because I kind of aimed most of my games that kind of fit that like retro feel because of Xbox's dedication to backwards compatibility, they have way more games that you can play because of the 360 had the King of Fighters, and then pretty much they had quite a few King of Fighters games on there from the 360 arcade, and the other Street Fighter games like Street Fighter 4. I think I got that free just by going to the Xbox Brazil website. Like, there's so many games, the Tekken games, that are just backwards compatible. So it was cool to be like, okay, I'll get my other games like that, like the Street Fighter collection, the Capcom collection, or Capcom Fighting Collection, and then this would just be like a perfect piece of that, just to have it all in one, hub. Because PlayStation really doesn't have a lot of that. They'll have some of the newer stuff, like newer Guilty Gear stuff or newer King of Fighters, but I can't play a lot of, other than the like Neo Geo recent releases. I can't play the ones that were kind of like from the PS2, Xbox era. Some of those that were pretty neat. So that's why I kind of, even though I have a PS5 and have had one for day one, had PS4 day one, all through last gen, I was aiming just based off what Xbox was giving me, like, okay, I'll get more of those games here because that makes kind of sense. So it kind of sucks that this game, to get the Capcom get the Capcom Fighting Collection with Darkstalkers and all that, and then not get this, to like having the same. They gotta have someone, and I was gonna actually make a post about that. I was like, I need to tell, because I saw I forget the Iron Lord's what's not Cog, but you know who I'm talking about.
I think I do.
With the beard. Yeah, for some
Yeah.
reason I'm blanking on his name, even though I watch the show all the time. But I recently saw a picture of him where I guess he was near Sarah Bonham. I was gonna send like a super chat to them and be like, the next time, please beg them, just fix this issue. I don't know if it's possible, if there's something with this MT framework where like there's just no going there unless like Microsoft like puts money for them to like I guess I don't know if that's even a thing where they could switch and port out a separate thing off of their existing engine, whatever they already have set up. It just does kind of suck. This is too big of a game, or too big of a loss. Like, I guess it's not, because it's not like they're losing, trying to think of like losing the next Street Fighter, like so it's not like they're losing like the mainline big AAA. So in all, it's it's a small thing, but it is kind of like a big, I don't know, cultural fighting thing, because of like, hey, if you're a big fighting game fan, it makes you feel like, I can't rely on this console of like, hey, other stuff like this, other collections that would be super cool and sick would skip this console. So it makes you think of like, hey, you might still buy an Xbox, but you might be less inclined to invest in it. So if like I have both consoles, maybe I get more of my fighting games on the other console, because I can expect, kind of like in my situation, I can expect, hey, I bought all the Capcom collections and now I have to split it up and have to jump on my, PS5 for my Capcom collections, even though I have all these other retro fighting games all in one place. Now I have to, I hate that part of it, of like not knowing of like, hey, is this, you're gonna get one, or we're gonna miss this one, and then we get some more of this, and then that whole unknown thing that Xbox really needs to, fix. And that is the thing that kind of sucks with them putting exclusives, that you feel like they could keep to themselves, because you're losing out on other stuff, even if Sony isn't doing it to you. You're kind of doing it to yourself. So hopefully they figure at least this out. Just figure out this one game. It just feels like this is such a easy
This
fix,
is the biggest
isn't
niche game that they've missed,
yeah,
like ever. Because it's not a huge game, but it's like the biggest niche game.
yeah.
It's symbolic.
But yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
I believe it's the only Marvel versus Capcom thing, or like Marvel Capcom thing that has released since the Xbox existed that hasn't launched on an Xbox platform.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's interesting, Crusader, because, we were feeling pretty good, right? Because, we're getting Atlas games, we were getting, like, a whole bunch of stuff to the platform. I was like, oh, okay, they're really making a lot of inroads, which is great. I'm not complaining about that, obviously. But it's surprising seeing this kind of, these developments, or lack thereof, really.
I will say that was the crazy thing. Someone made that post of like, look at all these Square games that we just found out we're getting over this past week, and then Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is not coming to Xbox. I'm like, what world are we? What universe is this where we're getting these Square games that they've been kind of abandoned this platform recently, but we're not getting Marvel? This doesn't make any sense.
Well, even where the focus is too, right? Because you look at a game like Black Myth Wukong, right? And it's delayed for whatever reason on Xbox, coming to everything else, well, mostly everything else, but it just gets delayed, right? For whatever reason. So it just, I don't know, like, it just seems like, again, Xbox is being put to the sidelines and there's a focus on other platforms. But I digress. Anything else to add, Shockley?
Nope.
All right. I'll head over to Crusader next, and then MLD. Crusader, again, what are your thoughts on this? These games all of a sudden just skipping the Xbox platform.
So my response to this is the same response that I have every time this happens, is that any single game, I mean, this is the biggest one, and this one on its own could be argued as it matters. But any single of these, like, smaller, not going to sell a ton, but they'll sell pretty well games. Like, I call them niche. They're not really niche. Like, they're not, like, uber niche. But, like, anytime one of these games skips the platform, the individual game isn't the problem. It's the amount of them in tandem together that causes the problem.
Yes.
And this is just the most noteworthy one, right? But this keeps happening, and it has kept happening, and I I feel like people hate me when I talk about it, but like I have to, because like this is a problem when the platform itself is already doing questionably. It's not doing great, not doing horrible. It's like doing the same that the Xbox One did, which is not great. It's not terrible. It's enough to survive, but it's not great. And they're only barely getting all of the largest games, but they're missing out on all these niche games. And it's getting to the point that like when they're putting their own games on other platforms, it's really like, why would people buy this platform? Because like things keep skipping it, and why do we need to invest into that platform when I could just get everything I want, including Xbox's stuff, on, say, a PlayStation? And that it'll start with the niche games, and I fear that it's growing. There was quite a few games, because there was games at the Limited Run Game Festival that were announced to skipping Xbox. The remake of the PS1 game
Fear Effect.
Fear Effect.
I always mix up Lair of Fear, Fear Effect, and Fear Files, the spin-off from from the franchise Fear.
Yeah.
I always mix all of their names up in my head. But like that was originally a remake that was announced for all platforms and then canceled and then like rebooted at another studio, and it's now no longer happening for Xbox.
But it was never an Xbox game. It was always been a PlayStation game, so it makes sense for it to skip Xbox.
But it's going to be.
I think it's because of the physical release, because like no one buys physical on Xbox.
Well,
again,
there was a bunch of, at the Limited Run Games thing, there was a bunch of games that were announced digitally for Xbox and just not physically for Xbox as well.
Which is a shame, really.
This game was being remade and was announced for Xbox in like 2018, and then like the remake got canceled in 2023, and then another studio is now taking a whack at it, and it's no longer hitting Xbox but hitting everything else instead.
Maybe it's the same reason. MT Framework.
Well, MT Framework is Capcom's.
Yeah, I meant that.
Is Capcom's engine. but like, it's not good. And like at the Nintendo conference, there was one Square game announced for all platforms, and it was that game that we talked about with the Apple that was originally Apple Arcade exclusive. It's like, I want to say it's Fantasia, but it's not Fantasia. It's something close to Fantasia. What was it called? The JRPG? Fantasian.
Fantasia. Yeah. I mentioned it before. Give me one second.
Yeah, like that was the Square Enix game that was announced for Xbox. But yet again, the Saga franchise from Square Enix is not coming to Xbox. It's the second Saga game in like 3 years that's not coming to Xbox from Square. So like a lot of these like niche little games are skipping, and like in the last couple of years from Capcom alone, there have been several. There was the newest one is the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighters Collection, but there was also the Monster Hunter Stories, which is arguably the largest one prior, because that game is literally on. They ported it to iOS and Android, but aren't putting it on Xbox. Like it's on literally everything. I think it got a Kindle Fire port, if I'm not mistaken. That might be the Final Fantasy collection that's on Kindle Fire. One of them is. But there's that. There was the Ace Attorney's Investigations collection, which was like of the 3 Ace Attorney's collections they've announced, 2 of them are on Xbox, but that one was not. And then the Mega Man Battle Network collection didn't come to Xbox. Like Capcom's been skipping Xbox with a lot of small niche products in the last 2 years. But there's been a bunch of other games like I said, the Saga games, the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters are still nowhere to be seen for Xbox. The Gundam game from Bandai Namco, Bandai Namco, isn't coming to Xbox. Like, there's a lot of these smaller. They're gonna sell a couple 100,000 copies at most on Xbox games. But they're just not coming, and that's really not good. Really not good, because if all the platform has is the biggest games, every platform has the biggest games, and Xbox is putting its biggest games everywhere. So like, I don't know what to say. It's not a good look if you want people to have faith in your platform. And like, as something that as big as the Marvel IP that has been on Xbox before, because it's definitely not a Spider-Man problem, because we've had Spider-Man's in those Marvel games. But it's definitely not that, because we've had, since Sony has made the Spider-Man games, we've had Marvel, the Midnight Suns was on Xbox. Like Spider-Man has showed up in other things.
Right.
It's not, some people have ran with that. It's definitely not a Spider-Man thing. I fail to believe it's a Spider-Man thing. If it really was, it wouldn't be dropping on Nintendo. It wouldn't be shown off at a Nintendo showcase as the place that it was announced. It would have been announced at the PlayStation one a couple weeks ago. Like that holds that theory holds like no water. But it just really sucks that like more and more of like the smaller niche games are skipping. That like Xbox can only get the ones that it either gets like marketing or Game Pass for, or is currently investing in like the wider kind of publishing deals like Atlas right now. Like if Microsoft stops directly marketing with Atlas, I fear will Atlas actually continue to put stuff on the platform? Or is it only because Microsoft has a full-on paid deal with them? Because when you run a storefront like this, you want people to come to your platform and sell things because they can sell things and they can do it well, not because they have deals with you, right? Like, the deals with you just makes you like, you can use their games as your own for marketing purposes, but you want to be able to have a self-sufficient storefront that games just come to. Like, Steam is like the golden child in that example, right? Other companies have to like pay to get people to not launch on Steam, and then like when they do go to Steam, like Square Enix just put the Kingdom Hearts franchise on Steam.
Right.
They treated that like the actual PC release of the game, right? Like they were advertising it like it was finally on PC, despite having been on PC for like 18 months. It makes me really nervous. Like as I've been saying, that like Microsoft really needs to clean up their messaging with the whole multi-platform moves, and they really need to work to to finally fill these holes, because it feels like they're putting their finger in one leak that's happening in Japan, and then you know, like they get like Atlas and they're getting some Square Enix stuff back, but then like another leak springs up with Capcom and another leak springs up with Bandai. So like they really need to solve the problem and not just patchwork the problem. And they need to make it so that developers want to launch on the platform and they want to launch it with vigor, right? Like people shouldn't be like there shouldn't be the concept of, oh, we're just delaying the Xbox version. The other version will still be out, like we saw with Baldur's Gate 3 and Black Myth Wukong, right? Like they're just willing to delay it because it's not going to impact their bottom line as much as if they had to delay for the other platforms. So it's just something needs to happen. Like something needs to be addressed.
Yeah, like again, I'm not saying that this is the end all be all, right? That, you know, again, a few games are either not announced or not coming directly at the same time. But you know, I do expect some sort of parity, though. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, if all the other ones are coming, why not Xbox? So it is kind of frustrating, and I do understand what you mean, Crusader, for sure.
Nintendo has to deal with this a little bit, a lot, right? Because with Nintendo, the games can't run on the Switch. Like, not all the games can run on the Switch, right? So there's an actual expectation as a customer that stuff's not going to be there. But that same expectation doesn't really exist for Xbox, or at least how they tried to market the Series X and stuff like that. Like they're like, no, everything will be able to run on it just fine. Don't worry. So they set the expectations that like this is the same experience as if you were buying the Series X or PS5 or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's not turning out to really be like that. There's cracks showing, and they need to work harder to solve those cracks. They need to work harder to not even just messaging to us. They need to work harder behind the scenes to make sure that crap's not skipping their platform. That because like PlayStation does not have to deal with nearly as much skipped content on their platform as we have to deal on our platform, right? Like they do not. In fact, PlayStation makes it a point to make sure that they are buying up exclusivity for games. Maybe Black Myth has exclusivity based on Xbox's comments. Maybe it doesn't. Who knows? Maybe we'll find out more in the future. But PlayStation has gone to the lengths to get a slightly different cutscene for the beginning of Sonic and Shadow, that Sonic and Shadow game that's coming out, right? PlayStation paid for an exclusively different version of that. Like that's the length PlayStation will go to make sure that like more often than not, it's them that has content that the Xbox community is not getting. And Microsoft needs to answer the question of how they're going to treat their console ecosystem different when they're putting their games over there. Like they have not answered that question satisfactorily. And it shows when companies are actively choosing to skip niche games on their platform.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
All right. No, fair comment. MLD, I'll go over to you and then to Dots. Yeah, MLD, again, same question. What do you think about, again, you know, some smaller titles, some from, you know, some fairly large publishers, you know, seem to be skipping Xbox for whatever reason in comparison to other platforms. I mean, you know, you have parity with some but not others. It just doesn't seem kind of fair in that respect. What are your thoughts on this?
Of course, when the news breaks out about the Capcom games, like the Fighting Collection skipping Xbox, everyone's first reaction is, oh, it's because of Series X and Xbox's business decisions. But that never really registered with me because Capcom isn't really known to pull like these, which I always viewed as these sleazy moves that Square Enix makes with Sony. This doesn't seem like a money-headed thing to me. So when the news comes out that it was all about the MT framework, how it's just more difficult for Capcom to port these older games to Xbox, that makes more sense to me. And because they're older, more niche titles, they don't want to put in the work to do it. And I mean, I don't agree with that, I think Xbox should. I hope that this backlash forces Xbox to allocate some resources themselves to make this work, so they can turn this thing around. Because it's a smaller game, and it's not like Capcom was bought out from another publisher or anything. It's just symbolic all the same. You can't keep having these little examples pop up, big or small. Like the other game from Square Enix, missing Xbox, and that's nothing new. I mean, Square Enix games have been missing Xbox for years now, but the idea is that they can't keep piling up like this. And the other game, like Wukong as well, for one reason or another, is also missing Xbox at launch. Yeah, they definitely have to clean up this messaging here. They got to do something about this. They have to be apprised of these things beforehand and do everything they have to do before it's made public so that they can avoid these kinds of PR blunders. Like Capcom, I would hope, would have told Xbox, hey, we can't port this fighting collection over to you. Can something be done? Ideally, they should do that going forward. So that's my stance on that, on Capcom in general. What is it? What was it the thing you guys mentioned there?
Oh, are you talking about Black Myth?
I just listed a bunch of. Oh, there was the fear game, the
Fear Effect.
Fear Effect. I don't know why I can't keep them all straight.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's just my stance there. And I'm also thinking of the Matt Booty interview. It was fairly recent. I can't help but just talk about that briefly. He said Xbox games, because you guys did mention that Xbox exclusivity, how he said it was going to be case by case basis. And while I get he's saying all that he can say, at the same time, we kind of want more. Like, we kind of need more clear messaging. It all comes back to clear messaging and end of day. And
Well, he straight up used the phrase launch exclusives or something along the lines of will be exclusive at launch
yeah,
for games. Like, he wouldn't say that anything would be exclusive.
right, yeah, and people latched onto that. I kind of had that gut reaction too, that a lot of games, even though they're exclusive, like as in not on PlayStation, they might not be in the future, and that would apply to everything. But then again, some people are just saying, "Oh, that's just how he spoke the sentence. Maybe he just misspoke. That there will be certain exclusives, there will be timed exclusives, there will be full multiplats. Like with Doom, they were transparent with Doom off the bat, and I guess that's a good sign. But there's still games like Indiana or Starfield that are kind of up in the air, and people still don't know if legacy IP like Gears of War are safe. So games like Doom, the messaging it's a good start, but they definitely have to be more clear about the legacy titles. Case by case basis, that's way too vague. And I guess that kind of leans into the original point about games skipping Xbox, that you don't want to create the perception that everything's going to go over, because you do need some incentive to buy the console. There has to be some draw. I do think there should be a healthy mix of exclusives and multiplats. And Xbox has to be clear on that going forward. And that also brings up the possibilities of Elder Scrolls 6 or the next Fallout now being multiplat day one because of Doom Dark Ages. So that's another topic we're going to have to revisit down the road too. So overall, yeah, I think the overall lesson we have to take away from this is that Xbox has to be more on top of things, and their messaging has to be good, because if it stays like this, where it's vague and open to interpretation, we're gonna see a lot more PR blunders when certain games end up skipping Xbox. It's all connected, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm hoping that this is a nice wake up call.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. No, well said. Well said there, MLD. I wholeheartedly agree. Let's see. We'll move on to Dots, and then Grimes can round us out here. Dots, yeah, same question heading your way. What's your thoughts on again, like some of these games skipping? Again, like some of them, not the biggest titles in the world, but again, when you're talking about Capcom, significant publisher, kind of disappointing there, at least on that one, anyways. Again, what's your take on all this?
My take is honestly like I wouldn't normally care about the game skipping on Xbox. Like, I've truly never been like that. Like it's unfortunate, but it's not something that I beat my head about. It's not something I lose sleep over. The thing that I agree with a lot of points the other guys said, but like one thing that I wanted to add into that was that like I have the issue I'm having is that the exclusives that Xbox have is like they're not like they're not keeping pace, because like I just saw like today on Twitter Mint Blitz, who's like a really big Halo guy,
Yes,
asked the question, who like when's the last time you played Halo Infinite? And yeah, no, and like and a lot of people were saying like it's been a month, or like there was an update recently and it's like screwing up NVIDIA graphics cards or whatever, and like the game is like in an unplayable state, and like but even before that update, like it just Halo, which is the Xbox game, is just not it's not competing with anything. It's not something that's like grabbing attention. It's not something that's people are getting into. It seems like it's stuck in this little loop of small update and here's another cosmetic pass, 20 tier cosmetic pass, and then a small update, and it's been on this cycle of this for a while. And so my idea is like yeah, like why get an Xbox if like the exclusive unfortunately is something like Halo Infinite, which doesn't really provide anything. I mean, Master Chief Collection is still great, but like you only play the campaign so many times. I mean, before you've done it all, and it's always fun to go back into, or get a friend to play co-op or whatever. No hatred towards Halo. I still love Halo, and I know all of you guys probably do too. But like, I don't see a reason to play Halo Infinite right now.
Respectfully, on that one, I mean, I will say Halo Infinite is, it's on I would say the tail end of its life cycle. Like, they're definitely hard, like 343 is hard at work on the next iteration.
What's wild is it was supposed to be a 10-year game.
Well, we hear that about a lot of games the past few
Destiny
years.
1 as well.
Oh.
Yeah, so Destiny was supposed to be a 10-year franchise with 4 games, one releasing every 2 years. That was the contract, and we were told that up front, but people heard 10 years and ran with one game for 10 years for that. Halo Infinite was straight up told to us by 343 that it was supposed to be the beginning of 10 years of content for Halo in one game. And it didn't happen.
Well, content update, probably. Whatever that means. It was an ever-evolving situation, I guess. Well, again, they definitely want to move on from, after everything, so.
I mean, how old is Fortnite now? Does anyone know how many years that?
Ancient, like 2016, I think, 2017.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you can have a game last this long. I mean, like Counter-Strike.
It's 7 years, almost 7 years. It'll be 7 years on July 25th.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it's still going strong.
I think CS:GO hit its 10-year anniversary, or not CS:GO. I'm sorry, CS:GO has been going longer. What's the Rainbow Six Siege? I think has hit its 10-year anniversary.
Problem with Halo is same problem with Gears. They don't know who to listen to because the one base loves Halo 5 multiplayer and then hates this multiplayer. they don't know who to listen to.
Well,
Like,
obviously they
same thing
listen
with
to
Gears.
us.
Who do you
They
listen to? Do you keep it niche, or do you grow it and piss off hardcore?
Hardcore, yeah.
Yeah.
Siege is 9 years old.
Mm-hmm. Damn.
Really? Wow.
Mm-hmm. Siege released on it's like technically 8 years old. It'll be 9 years in December. It was released on December 1st, 2015.
And that game's launched at a sorry state.
Now,
it was really bad.
Yeah, and that game has some problems right now, man. Let me tell you that that community is not happy because Ubisoft released a subscription service that didn't work and isn't worthwhile and is bad, and they're not putting the content that they need into the game. They're not a happy bunch of campers right now either. But like, that is a 9-year running game.
Damn.
And I believe it's switched engines once already too. They ported most of the game to a new engine. I believe that happened.
Interesting. I mean, I knew a lot of friends of mine who were pretty diehard into that right when it first came out, but I haven't heard a lot talked about it. And I mean, I know they do content for it, but I haven't heard like a lot about it in recent years. So I guess it dropped off a bit, maybe. Anything else to add there, Dots?
No, I mean, I think we covered that. It's now like that doesn't mean there isn't hope on the horizon. I mean, I think the Gears game that was announced, that's definitely something Xbox can hold in its high spot, and that's all the veteran Gears players are definitely getting all in on that.
People here are gonna have to teach me how to properly play Gears multiplayer for when that comes out.
All right,
who's gonna the sidestepping cover dashing?
Okay, I'm not going to do that. That looks nauseating.
Looks
bad.
I will
not be engaging with that.
I would pay to see all that wall bouncing, like done by Crusader.
Oh my God.
Bounce. Come on.
I mean, listen.
Bounce.
Dots has seen me do some really obnoxious and horrible things in multiplayer games that I get really competitive into. So, like, he's seen me do obnoxious and awful things in Halo and in Destiny and in I don't know if he ever played. I don't know if we were friends when I was in my Call of Duty era.
We played some Black Ops 2 together.
But yeah, like I'm excited because I never got into the Gears multiplayer. And I've always been apprehensive of it because I'm always Fortnite was the first game that I really liked third-person PvP in. I'm usually a first-person competitive person, right? So like that was like the first game I really enjoyed PvP third-person in, and it makes me want to give the Gears of War multiplayer when E-Day comes out a huge shot. I'm very interested in that. So someone here is gonna. I know you guys, a bunch of you are Gears nuts. Someone's gonna have to take me through the ringer.
Yeah, I can't. No, announcement alone. Like I gotta wait for the gameplay.
You guys were so excited.
But
on that Sunday night.
No.
Like,
it pumps me up though, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice to see that grim dark stuff again. Like it looks
sure.
Good. Yeah. But yeah, anything else, Dots? Yes, no?
Nope, that's it. That's my thoughts.
All right, Grimes, why don't you end us off here on this topic? Yeah, please share your thoughts. What do you think about this whole skipping Xbox talk?
Yeah, I'll keep it very short. With regards to the Marvel vs. Capcom collection, look, I get it. And as we discussed off air, I'm 100% in agreement with all of you guys. I don't think any platform or player base should be left behind. But look, and you guys think it's gonna sell well, but I disagree. I can't see it setting the world on fire sales-wise. I don't think it's gonna do well on PlayStation either. And I guarantee you, other people that buy the game, only half of them will play it. And don't get me wrong, I think it's a cool release. I'm happy for other people that are excited about it. Yeah, there are people playing it, but I don't think that will play it, but I don't think it's going to be your average gamer. Uh, to me, this release, it only makes sense for handheld devices. It's perfect for them, and that's why I think it will sell better on Steam than console. And you guys already touched on the Capcom engine, the empty framework, that it's really not compatible with modern systems. And look, nobody mentioned this, but it's not even coming to PlayStation 5. So it's obviously not an Xbox Series S or X
So
problem.
there's no reason to necessarily port it to PS5 though, because if it's on PS4, it's on PS5. Like, what are you gonna get? What are they gonna do differently for on the PS5 version? It's probably gonna run at like 120 hertz on PS4. So I do question that. Also, it's not that it's incompatible, and that was one thing I meant to say during when MLD said similar. It is not that the MT framework is incompatible. It's that there is no pipeline at Capcom to port MT framework content to Xbox systems like there is for Switch, PC, and PlayStation, because they've never invested in doing it for Xbox.
So what if Microsoft works with Capcom to?
That's the prayer. That's the
No,
prayer.
I was gonna mention backwards compatible games. Like bring the old. If they're not gonna bring this new collections to Xbox, why can't they just try to bring the older games to backwards compatibility?
I don't know. There's a lot of Capcom stuff that's not backwards compatible. I was noticing that when I was going through the Xbox 360 store, because the Xbox 360 store is closing. There's a lot of Capcom stuff that's not backwards compatible,
I think
which is frustrating.
The only one that I can think of out of top of my head is that it's compatible. It's a Lost Planet, and I think it's only one of them. I'm not sure if the first one.
They all
is,
are. I own. They're all installed on my console right now.
But look, yeah, I mean, like I said, I agree with all of you guys, and if you feel a certain way, make sure you pester other people involved. Don't be abusive, but just keep hitting them up and asking them to work on all of these things.
I will say, normally it's like me and Sixers that are annoying people. Have you seen the comments under the Capcom posts?
I have
like half of it is Xbox is people, like random people, like not the normal people you see begging for the ports, like myself and Sixers, and even like there's a couple other people in the community who are like the Xbox port beggars or BC beggars. There's a lot of people who are begging for, or like, why is this not on Xbox?
Yeah,
like it's like half of the comments.
I mean, yeah, we'll see what happens. Personally, I've never been a Marvel versus Capcom guy. I've always been a Mortal Kombat player. But again, I support you guys 100%. Another game that I would like to see on Xbox, but I don't think it would do well sales wise, is the Lego Horizon game Invader mentioned last week. But it would just make no none of the Lego games do well on Xbox, so it makes sense not to have it. I think most of them just end up on games with gold, so that paints a picture. But it's a interesting game. I love a Horizon franchise and would love to see it, but I don't think it makes any financial sense. Plus, it's a Sony game, so they probably wouldn't allow it. But
you know what's wild? That was actually at the Nintendo Direct. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah,
like that game was at the Nintendo Direct.
Yeah,
which was wild.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Like PlayStation didn't show it at their own show. Then they showed it at but they did show it at Jeff Keighley's show, and then they showed it at the Nintendo show. Like that was just a wild, like, very strange thing. And I'm wondering if it's because of Lego and Like Lego really wanted it on the Switch.
Yeah, I think the Invader.
Because it's
didn't
also
you-
it's not a Traveler's Tale game. It's made by a totally different studio. It's not like made by
is
the
it?
regular Lego people. No, it's not.
Interesting.
But again, like I just don't. I don't think those Lego games sell that well on Xbox. I also think Xbox is an older audience compared to PlayStation and maybe Nintendo. So that's why maybe those games wouldn't sell that well.
It's possible. I mean, I'll admit I'm not 100% sure of what the Lego games do numbers wise, but I think they do decently. I think they do all right because they're always on the platform, so there must be a reason for them to be put on there. So I think they do all right, but not like gangbusters. No.
And just to close my my thoughts, I think we'll be all right. I think Xbox just needs to. I would rather see Xbox focus on new games, not skipping Xbox, rather than older games. So we shall see what happens. But as long as newer games or like bigger games don't miss Xbox, I think we'll be fine. We'll be okay.
All right. Fair enough there, Grimes. Fair enough. I see your point. Let's see. Looking at the time, I think that about does it for this one, folks. I think everybody got in on the last topic. Let's see. We covered Jerret West leaving Xbox yet again, the latest Nintendo Direct, plus a few games skipping the Xbox platform recently. Again, guys, it's not doom and gloom or anything like that. Just commenting on some of the news from the past week. Believe me, Xbox, very, very confident in it. Shout out to all the wonderful people that joined us tonight. If you enjoyed our banter, then please consider dropping a like, subbing to the channel if you're new here, and of course, sharing out this episode as it does help us out a lot. With that said, let's close things out, starting with Dots. Dots, hey, great to have you here as per usual. Where can all these wonderful people find you?
Yeah, no, another good Sunday night. Yeah, you can find me at @dotsrts on Twitter and on Xbox. But yeah, another good show. Hopefully, some more good stuff to come in the future. I also know they had a small gameplay trailer for Space Marine 2 that came out a couple days ago, which was really nice. Some more good stuff from that, because we're slowly turning from an Xbox podcast to a Warhammer podcast. That's definitely the track we're going on at this rate. But no, seriously, as annoying as it is, Xbox is still a home to a lot of people, and it's not dead. And we're gonna see some good stuff. Gears of War is just the start, I think. But positive vibes, good stuff, and I hope everyone else has a good week going on forward.
Indeed, Dots, good stuff. Moving on over to Grimes. Grimes, hey, good stuff tonight from you as well. Where can everybody find you at?
Yeah, great show as always. You can find me on Twitter at FakeMayhemOG. And all of you guys have a great week, and see you guys next week.
All right. Moving over to Eric Shockley. Eric, hey, loved your stuff tonight. Very well said points. Where can everybody find you?
Yeah, as always, you can find me at ShockNero on Twitter, X, or Easy Shock on Xbox Live. But yeah, good show tonight. Good topics. See you later.
All right, moving over to Crusader. Crusader, again, loved your thoughts as well. Where can, everybody tune in and find you?
You can find me at Crusader3456 on Twitter, and on Xbox and everything. Great show tonight. Something I wanted to say, I don't remember. But if I remember, I'll post it on Twitter, and you can hear it there, people.
You heard the man. Check him out there. General MLD, hey, some pretty good thoughts from you as well. Always well spoken. Where can everybody find you?
Oh yeah, had a great show. You guys can find me at MLD Ghost on Twitter X, gamertag GhostMLD, and looking forward to the next one.
All right. And of course, I'm Invader. You guys can find my content on YouTube at Invader Gaming, along with many, many other video platforms. You can find it in the description. Fun chat tonight, and we look forward to seeing you here on the next one. I mean, when aren't we, right, guys? Later, everyone. It's been a good one.